Everyone, it is Wednesday. I almost said it was Sunday. It's not Super Bowl Sunday. It is Wednesday, and I'm super excited to be here. We've got the lights off at my house. It's kind of dark. I like working in the dark. I don't know. That's a little bit better. I woke up this morning, and every once in a while, I'll just wake up and God's kind of laid some stuff on my heart that I'm just like, man, I need to deal with this, right? Or man, I need to dig into this. Like there's something there. And so I woke up with focus, just this idea of focus on my heart. And I believe it's for me, very specifically for me, because I struggle to keep my focus. But the post I made, I went ahead and made a post on my timeline. I like to see stuff. I like to go back and check my memories, right? And see where I'm at and what's going on. And so I talked about the power of a magnifying glass, right? And a magnifying glass can be very powerful. It makes things bigger. But when you add the sun to it, it magnifies its ray to where if you leave it in one spot long enough, it does some damage, right? It starts a fire. Now, if you continue to move that spot over a sheet of paper or over grass or over anything that could catch fire, it never has the time to create the intensity and create that heat to combust, right? To start that fire. And so that thought on my mind led me to I was driving around. I was dropping off some product, sending out product. I ship a lot of product out of my house. If you're not keeping product on hand just to ship to those that ask, that don't want to buy from online, I think you're messing it up. I'm well over 1,000 bottles for 2023 or 2. And I think I've shipped out 100 in the month of January. So I would challenge you to keep those there and not shipped out. I mean, like my neighbor comes over and buys, people just come by. So that's a side note. Once again, I lose my focus sometimes, right? So this idea of focus is very powerful. But when you think about that magnifying glass, if I leave it there with the power of the sun, right, long enough, it eventually is going to start a fire. And we know that fire is powerful. Fire consumes. Fire can not only destroy a lot of things, but it brings a lot of life. It brings a lot of refining back to things, and it brings a lot of good, right? A lot of good out of things. And so I've really put the thought on, okay, God, what are you talking about here with my business? And I've been on this like the last couple hours. Ryan, you're not putting enough focus into an area that you could magnify. Your focus doesn't stay long enough, right? Like you find something, you like it, you get to going, and then something else comes on and you go and you jump on it, right? And then you'll get to going on it, and then you'll think about that other thing you were on, and then you'll run back to the other side. And you've never really taken the time to go, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pour all of my energy into this. And so I went back and looked at when we started with VitaFi, what happened. Okay, so here's a little bit of my story, and then I'm gonna ask some questions to Stephen and just kind of go here. But my story started we've been in network marketing for a while. We had joined a company, things went great, ran right to the top of the company. I'm going to have to mute everybody, or not everybody, but there's a couple that are causing feedback. Ran to the top of the company. Things looked good. I quit my full-time job because we were making like 8 times more than what I was making at that job. And I was like, man, we could just double down and really go. Inside that, within weeks, our business fell apart. And I was pretty distraught. I argued with God a little bit. I argued with Kylie a little bit. I was mad. I just completely threw my hands up there and said, forget this, I'm out. I disappeared. You can even see on my social media, I disappeared, right? Well, in the process, my mentor, Juan Soares, right, who I work with a lot, he said, listen, we eventually joined VitaFi. And I'm like, Juan, I've got to go back to work. There's no way we can make the amount of money that we need to make to take care of it. And I don't want to run through my savings. And he said, is there any amount of time that you're willing to give that money and make your whole focus, this is what you're going to do, right? And I said, okay. So we sat down with our finances. I'm like, all right, I can go 3 months. And after that, I'm calling UPS, I'm calling FedEx, I'm going to get in a job. I'm going to work for my dad at the farm, something, right? He said, okay, we got 3-month window. Are you willing to cut all the distractions and just pour into this and really get after it? Yes, I will. And so I look back at those 3 months and I got up in the morning, I got in the word, I got my mind right? I spent my quiet time, I got my mind right. And then I'm going to focus. I'm calling people. I'm building on social media. I'm reaching out through people in Messenger. I am learning from people. I am actually spending time learning. Like I'm spending time reading some network marketing books. I went back through my GoPro challenge. I've got those DVDs, went through it. I was doing different things. And my whole focus was, if we don't build this business, we're going to lose it, right? So my whole focus was right there. Inside those 3 months, we ran all the way to a pretty good income where I think it's about 7,000 or 8,000, where by the end of our 3rd month, that was our make. And I was like, okay, we are going to make this. And then I pushed and we went really hard. And then all of a sudden things got pretty good and things looked like they were going pretty good. And I took my focus and I allowed it to broaden and I allowed myself to get distracted by different things that really shouldn't. Some of it was I've made excuses. Or I didn't like the way things were going. I didn't like this. And then I found, oh, well, there was this and this and this, and I need to be focused on this. We have an amazing ability that when we as individuals, as we as human beings, when we really get laser focused and we have the right mindset, we can do some amazing things. God created us in a way, like we have this ability in our head to just do some things that just push us way past anything we really thought we were capable of. But our mindset has to be right and our focus has to be in the right direction. So where I'm going is I believe I've watched so many of you, right? Mike, I haven't known you very long, but I watch your Facebook. I watch what you do. I watch the volume that you're running, and I'm inspired, right? I watch what you do, and it's really cool. But I truly believe that you are just scratching the surface of what you're capable of, especially inside this industry. I think you have some major influence and some things that you could really crush, right? I watch. Well, crap, there's Sherry, Dr. Neal, right? I've watched her do some amazing things. Now, I truly believe, I'm going to say this again, you are way more powerful than you give yourself credit for. And I have seen you do some amazing things. And then I've seen you get focused and go different ways. And then you come back and then you go, right? We know each other well enough. We can have this conversation. Love her with all my heart. Our focus, if you can get focused and wrap your mind around, hey, this is what I want to do. This is where I'm going. But listen, you can't go somewhere without a game plan. That's kind of been where I'm at now. God says, okay, look at what you did when you were focused. You had a plan and you followed that plan. Lately, I've fallen away from my game plan. Lately, I've fallen away from what really builds my business until the last week or two. And guess what? My business has shown exactly what my focus was. Does that make sense? Are we there, right? So this idea of focus needs a game plan. It needs a proper mindset. But let me tell you what's huge. Number one, you need a community. You need a group of people that are like-minded and going in the same direction. Because if you get very far away from the community, you need that group that draws you back in and says, hey, hold on. We were going here. Now you're doing this. You told me your goals. You told me this is what you're doing. Come back. Get close. Because if we get too far away from the fire, right, we get cold. All right. Number two, inside that community, you need a group of people that you trust, right? That you trust and you've given permission not only to coach you, but to call you out. Hey, listen, that's not you, right? We're at a point, Steve and I are at a point in our relationship where if he called me and said, hey, what is going on? You're not what is this? Like, he has that, we have that relationship where I will trust him. Dr. Thornton could call me up right now and go, hey, this last week, you've been a no-show, you've done this. We said we were going to do this as a team. This is where we're going. And now you're here, right? Or I'm throwing a pity party. This doesn't work. I can't believe that someone got a box with no product in it. I cannot believe that it took 10 days for someone to get a shipment that lives 260 miles from the shipping, in Salt Lake City, right? Like, hold on, come back. Listen, you're getting distracted. Come back. Like, it's important for a community, but it's also important inside the community to have your fist, your nucleus, those people that can call you out. So I have gone back and just kind of looked through everything, and I go, oh, wait, I lost my focus. I've got it back in the last couple of weeks on really doing business building activities. Now, am I following my game plan? Like, what is my game plan? What is the ultimate goal, and what are the steps to get there? And I realized I'm doing a good job of building my following back up, but I haven't done anything on follow-up. I hadn't done anything on my reach outs on prospects, right? Of those people that are now interacting, I haven't been interacting on them, right? I realized that there were some steps in my goals of, I have to share my business with one person a day. I have to. And when I did that in the start, I said, hey, 30 people a month, 31 if we have 31 days, or 28 for February, right? Every single day I'm going to share one person my business, right? I realized that in my game plan, I got my focus back, but I hadn't been on my game plan. I do have a nucleus, I do have a community, but I'd lost some of the steps. All the steps are important, right? So focus. There's some of you, we need to get focused. There's some of you that are focused, we need to create a game plan. There's some of you that have a game plan, but you don't have a relationship with some of the people in our community to hold you accountable, or to fall back on when someone gives you a no. Hey, no, you're stupid. Network marketing is dumb. That's the dumbest product ever, whatever. Like, if you hear that enough, you start believing it. You need that backing behind you going, hey, that's all right. They're silly. Let's move on, right? It's okay. What do you believe? You believe this product's helped you? Yeah. Do you believe in the industry? Yeah. Then what's it matter what they say? Let's go, right? So that's where I'm at. That's what's kind of been on my heart. That's what I'm going through as myself. Stephen, you want to add anything to this? Any thoughts to that? But focus is like, I just believe the Lord is just telling me, dude, focus and get back to the steps.
Sure. The thing I would say that I heard David Bird, who's a leadership coach, say, he goes, clarity for your future will give you power in your present. So like, I'm having a hard time focusing. Well, you don't have clarity on who you are, where you're going, how are you going to get there? You're like, oh, I'm doing this business. Sure hope it works. Hoping it works out for me, right? Or do you have a clear vision of like, oh, we're doing it. Like, I can see the end result, and it's worth it to me. Does that make sense? It's like, it's a must. That's a big thing. A lot of times it's like, oh, you want to build something big. Is it they want to, or an absolute have to must? Right? Like you had to build the business, right? or else
Yes.
people go hungry. You have to, right? So if you lack the focus, because focus is key. One thing I like to describe it as, with like this small plane that was circling around my house by Cessna 175 or something like that. But a small plane like that's real interesting. Maybe they'll have, I'm just randomly saying numbers, maybe takeoff speed is 175 miles an hour, but the plane could cruise at 150, right? So 150 is pretty good speed, but what if it goes 150 all the way down the runway? Runs out of runway, right? There's a certain intensity and focus that is incredibly helpful in getting your network marketing business going at first. Like focus, like for sure. I've always known, typically in many of the companies I've built, the work I do for the first 90 days, I get paid on it for years and years and years and years and years and years. Mm-hmm. That focused intent, right? So again, if you're not focused, you don't even, you either don't think, you're not convinced this will actually work out, or it's not a have to, right? It's not an absolute must.
Right. No, and that's a good thought. Like I had players for me that would come in and they would start to work, but they would never give their whole heart. And I had one that was just pretty honest. And I asked him, and he gave me the most honest answer I'd ever heard. I said, hey, buddy, you could be special and you could flat just go, but you never give your whole heart. You never really just get into this, the whole thing. And he's like, Coach, what if I give everything I have and don't ever reach the potential I hoped I was going to get there? I hope to get to, right? What if I give it all and I find out that I don't have the ability to reach that ultimate goal that I wanted? I said, okay. I said, but you'll never get there if you don't try. He said, yeah, but if I don't try, I can at least tell my kids and my family that, hey, if I had given it my all, I might have been this. If I don't give it my all, or if I do give it my all and I don't get to where I wanted to go, I know I'm a failure. And I'm like, buddy, you have bought in to a lie that, I mean, it was honest. He was so truthful, but I was like, hold on. So you're going to choose not to try because you might not reach the ultimate goal. You might not get to where you wanted to go. What about the journey in between? And he was like, the ultimate goal is all I care about. Okay, then you don't love this the way that you should. And I was like, Eli, do you love the game? Do you love what we're doing? Or is it all about you being the greatest that ever was that come through the school? Well, I just want to be the greatest that ever was. Then, buddy, we need to find you a new passion. We need to find you something that excites you, something that you fall in love with, right? But the ultimate goal was, and then we talked through this. Guys, this was a 3-week conversation with this kid. And eventually he goes, you know what? I said, hey, walk away. Let's get away from ball. No more. He got away from it for a while and he come back. He's like, Coach, I do love being with the guys. Coach, I love sweating and laughing. And I love walking out of a gym and going, man, I gave all I had today. I'm tired. He realized that the end goal was not what got him there, that he did love what was going on, right? And so this idea of this idea of bought into this lie, boy, when he fell in love with the process, when he fell in love with actually the game, he changed everything in him. He went from being a C team player to moving his way up, worked his way up to a JV starter, and then eventually onto the varsity. And I was like, it all changed when he changed his focus and changed his mindset. And he actually goes, you know what? It's not the end goal I'm in love with. I love the game and I love the people I get to do this with. Right. Yeah. I don't know if that even makes sense. I went down that, but you brought me to a whole new thought, Stephen.
Well, here's you bring up some excellent points. And Robert Fritz, who's a leadership dude, I mean, he makes $50,000 a day helping turn massive companies around. He says there's a couple of key things to understand. Number one, we've talked about this before, is you can't pour your life passion into a compromise, right? So it has to be something like, I am committed. This is super, super important. Yet the goal that you're going for, you cannot attach your value and your ego to it. Like this kid, he's like, if I fail, there's so much shame and so much potential hurt, I can't risk it. Versus going for it. Well, what if you don't make it? Well, that's not where I get my value. Right. So you've got to be something you are willing to pour your life passion into. And when you disconnect your ego from it, you can have honest and accurate conversation about, is what you're doing actually working? Like, there's a lot of people, if you sit down with them, they're like, oh, I'm going for it in my network marketing business. I'm like, yeah, but you're never going to get there. Not with your current level of action and commitment. So either say, it's not important to me, or change. But be honest, right? And if you disconnect your ego, you can go, yeah, I guess it's just not that important to me. Cool. I'll do something else with your life, right? Someone needs to do network marketing, or say, you know what? I'm getting focused. I'm going to be hyper-focused and committed, because what I told you was important, is actually important. And so this is a good thing for people to remember as you're building a team too, is like, very helpful to know why, like a driving passion on why people want to do it. So you can have a conversation with them like, hey, Ryan, man, you told me that you wanted to build this business for your kids, so you could pay for special clinics and coaches for them for their sports or whatever. A lot of money, right? Is that still important to you? Or did you change your mind? Right? And he'll tell me, no, it's still super important. I'm like, okay, you realize with your current level of action and commitment, you're not going to get there, right? So are you willing to do what it takes? Or are we going to let go of this thing?
Right.
Just, and if you want to say, hey, it's not that important to me, fine. Don't do it, right? It's not a big deal. But let's have an honest conversation about it.
Right.
So.
Right. And see, that's it. That's the point I was going to talk. How do you keep your focus? You need to know your why. You need to have a vision. You have to. If you don't have a why and you don't have a vision, you're never going to be able to keep your focus. Because when the focus loses and you fall back on that, why am I doing this? It cannot be something that is completely fixed with money, because now you have a shopping list. Okay. It needs to be more than that. It needs to go deeper than that. So how do you keep your focus? You need to have a why. You need to have a vision. How do you take your focus and move it into business? Well, I'm going to have a focus. Now we got to create a game plan. What are the steps we're going to take to get there? All right. These are the steps I'm going to take to get there. Now I need to find a community to do it with. I believe we have that community. Plug in and let's go. But you also need to find your tribe. Okay. Find your people that will hold you accountable, that you can get some fire from, get some accountability from, and get some love from, right? Find that group, your core group, and then let's go. And then at any point in time, you lose your way, your why and your vision will bring you back on the right path. Okay.
And by the way, you talk about losing your way. Here's an interesting thing to talk about so people don't get discouraged. It's like Bill Johnson talks a lot about wisdom's tension. What are we talking about? Is, there's a psalm, in the psalm it says, don't rebuke a fool. And 5 verses later it says, rebuke a fool. And you're like, what? Wait, you rebuke him? Do not rebuke him. Like, where are we at? Maybe God's on your case, like, Ryan, you need to live by budget. You need to get your act together. You spend money like a drunken sailor, and man, finally you're getting pretty good at it. And all of a sudden God's like, go on the mission field. You're like, wait, the budget. Right? So it's like, you have a lot of that in business too. It's like, we're like, man, be super focused. And the reality of it is, it's not a straight line. The average successful business person is manic depressive, bipolar, ADHD. They're all over the place. So if you find yourself in a total funk, completely distracted, don't beat yourself up. It's part of the scenery, right? It's
Right.
like, we're like, man, Ryan, you got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to do the hard things. Oh, and by the way, you should really have fun while you're building your business. Like, what do you mean? Like,
Right.
it's a lot of times it's both. Does that make sense? Or sometimes you need to figure out, well, where I'm at. Do I need to start having more fun, or do I need to suck it up and do the difficult things? It's be a little flexible as you're going down the road. That's all I'm saying, right?
Right.
Or else you're like, oh, I'm not doing it exactly like Ryan's doing. Therefore, I'll never make it. It's like, whoa. People build businesses, network marketing business, so many different ways. So many different ways. It's like, pick something from here, pick something from there. Some people build their business in such a way, and I'm like, I would never do that. I'm not even gonna try, because I wouldn't like it at all. It's working for them, good for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. It's a good word. Okay. So that's what I had. That's what was on my heart. That's where I wanted to go. I hope you caught, even if you catch just one thing that moves you forward, right? Then we've done something. It's been good. But that's where I'm at. Know that I'm always constantly, guys, I'm this guy.
Oh my goodness, me too.
Right. Right. I am.
People probably think that we're both like super focused. Like, oh my God, no, like up and down and like crazy town, but the end result is important enough to me. So I'm never willing to totally give up. I'll always come back and refocus.
Right. Right.
So,
There's nothing wrong with that, guys. I don't ever want you to beat yourself up to the point where you're like, well, I just can't do this. I can't stay focused. You can always come back. You can always reset. You can always refocus. I do it all the time, sometimes 7, 8 times a day. I mean, like, it just is. It really is. I am super focused. Let's go, let's drive, squirrel. And I run and chase, right? I am a car and I'm chasing. And then I'm like, oh crap, refocus. Okay, this is where I'm going. And that's just me. And I've learned to work in my stuff. But I also know this, there's a couple people in my life that when I am squirrel, car, whatever, oh no, the sky is falling, that they grab me and they pull me back. And they go, hey, come on, you're better in this right here. You had a goal, let's go. Right. And so just have your few, have your tribe. I really think. And if it's someone that's closer to you, you know, like I'm grateful to have Kylie doing this with me because we kind of build off each other. Sometimes she's chasing cars and I'm focused and I'm over here and she's focused. And sometimes we're both off but we bring each other together. But I also have those that are close to me that I talk to on a daily basis. Right. And they check on me. So I think it's huge, but I'm grateful for each and every one of you. At any point in time, we can relaunch a business. It's network marketing. You can relaunch 70 times. It doesn't matter. We're going to have a major run right when we launch the Europe market. We're going to do probably a 60-day blitz. I don't think it'll be 90, but a 60-day blitz whenever that we get ready for that launch. But everything I'm doing right now is building up to that. Grabbing new people. I'm looking to get people into the group, find out who's interested, finding some new runners. New blood is some of the best things for your business. If you feel like your business is stagnant, relaunch it and go find some new blood, right? Find some new excitement because you never know what'll start a fire in your others. And it's usually someone that's excited, right? I love when someone comes into the business and they're excited and then like seven people up, that someone that was building it, they've gone dormant. They're like, where'd all this volume come from? I'm like, have you met Stacy? Come meet Stacy. You need to talk to her. And then they get to talk. And then like, next thing I know, they're both building, right? That new blood brings a lot of excitement. So never stop recruiting, bring those people in. And if we need to relaunch, just get some new people and then we'll run them on this blitz, right? And go. But this is prime time. It's time to get after it. All right, guys, that's all I got. We'll see you.
Thank you so much again.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Both of you.